is Lady Myya, and I'm here with Lee Chambers. He is a writer, producer, and director of shorts, features with Academy Award-winning Roger Corman and Paul Haggis. Okay, so he's always been a guest speaker, moderator, and a workshop lead at film festivals all around the world. You guys. He is coming to us from up north. We appreciate him just making the time and taking the time out to be with us today. Well, hello, Mr. Lee.
Hello, it is so nice to be here with you today and with all your listeners.
Well, thank you so much, and my Mayan tribe appreciate you as well. All right, you guys, we're going to get this thing started. We're going to get some questions asked, and we're going to get his input. Okay, so here we go. When did you have a feeling that you were going to be a writer or a producer or a director?
You know what? Most people who want to be creative and want to follow the creative field know it when they're a kid. They know it when they're a kid, but of course, parents around you want you to go off and do other things. You'll never make money in the arts. So go and be a doctor, a lawyer, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I never had that kind of pressure when I was a kid. I'm the one of three kids, and I was always kind of the black sheep of the family. I was always a little bit crazy and zany, and my parents allowed me to and encouraged me to be that little crazy little boy. And you know what? When I was young, and the video cameras were out, but they were still very expensive to buy. We rented one from the local library once, and all weekend long, you couldn't get it out of my hands. I just played with that thing and tried things and pointed at that stuff, and I did little comedy sketches and just had a blast with it. And I kind of knew then that, you know, that's kind of where I wanted to be. But being born in Canada, you're kind of away from the industry. You know, people think, you know, New York, and they think LA, and they think the big media centers of the world. And I was born in a small town in Canada where if you wanted to be a filmmaker, it wasn't really a place where you could actually learn your craft. And I realized when you know, early in my career that if I wanted to be a filmmaker, I needed to surround myself with like-minded people who also want to be in the industry. And that's what I did. I ended up leaving Canada and I went to England. I have a dual citizenship, so I have the British passport. So I went to England. It was supposed to just be for 6 months or a year, and I ended up spending 8 years there. And I did my film school at Leeds Metropolitan University in England, and it was just great being surrounded by fellow filmmakers and people who want to learn the ins and outs of making movies. And if you want to do something, you have to surround yourself with those like-minded people, right? You need to, no matter what it is, you need the support of not just family and friends, but also your colleagues that you're going to work with over a career. You need those people around you to encourage you. You need your mentors and you need your peers around you to learn from and also to support as well.
True, very true. No, I understand completely. Like-minded people, you definitely want to keep and stay with those group of people because now you guys can kind of feed off of each other. So I do understand that as well. So like, you know, with that, like, how did you get on that route? Like knowing that you had to get out of Canada and just taking that big of a leap to go to another country to do so. Like, that's interesting.
You know what? I bought a one-way ticket. And I remember just like I got a one-way ticket. It cost me $99 American to fly out of Boston to London. And I didn't know when I was going to be back. And I just went for it. And, you know, I've had friends. I remember a friend of mine in Michigan who said, I wish I had that spirit inside me that would allow me to do that. I wish I could take that jump as well. And I says, well, you can. Anybody can. Sometimes it means you're jumping into the unknown, and you don't know what's on the other side. Some people, I think, they get, like, I worked in Canada as a graphic designer for a while, and I was good at it, but it wasn't satisfying me inside. And I had friends who said, "Well, you've got a good job, you're making good money. Go and get a house and a car, and you can do whatever you want because you're earning money." And I'm thinking money wasn't being satisfying to me.
Mm.
I have a creative spirit. I need to follow that creative spirit, even if it means for a number of years I'm broke and poor. And I've plenty of times I've been broken poor with just a tin of beans in the cupboard, and that's it. But I've always been happy, and so money doesn't buy happiness. But being, to be able to explore the creative spirit and to be able to do what I want to do means sometimes taking a leap of faith and
Yeah.
saying, I just have to go for it. The
And
safety is fine, but I have to go for it. And that's what I did.
see, and I think, we are so scared to take risk anymore because it's like, somebody that took a risk and it just didn't work out and they're still trying to build their lives back up. And here it is that you took a risk and you did it and you made it and you got to where you wanted to be doing the very thing that you took the risk for in the first place. So that is an excellent story, sir. That was awesome. Okay, so what would you say your first big break was?
My first big break, I would say, would be when I went to England. I still didn't know I was going to go to film school. I was 24 years old. I was still trying. I was playing around trying to do some things, but I realized I needed to do education. And I happened to be in Leeds, England, in Yorkshire, in northern England, and I was walking down the sidewalk, and suddenly I saw a sign for the Northern School of Film and Television, and I went inside and talked to people, and a couple months later, I'm a student, and it was that, just doing it. And what was great about the schooling that I had was it was a very practical film school. It wasn't a school of just theory and academics. It was, let's put a camera in your hand and let's make something together. And at 20, the time I took the course, I was 25, and I was the youngest person there, one of the youngest person there. And most of the people who were at the film school were older. They were in their 30s. They already had a career in the industry, but were trying to make sideways shifts into the business. And the cinematographer for the short film that I made at film school had 12 years of experience already with the camera, but he'd only ever done animation, like small scale animation, not computer generation, like models and stuff. And nobody wanted to give him an opportunity to direct or to be a camera person for live action sets. So he went to film school to get more material on his show reel to show that he can light a big set rather than a small set. And the year that he was a cinematographer on my film, the previous year he had 2 films were up for the Academy Awards for short film. And so my learning curve went through the roof because as a student, my cameraman has 12 years of experience, 2 films nominated for the Academy Awards. And so I learned a lot really, really fast. And so that was a big thing for me, was about surrounding yourself with not just like-minded people, but also people who are quality, people who can actually, it's good. You need to have people around you who are full of enthusiasm, but they also need to know what they're doing. Otherwise you learn bad habits. So I learned a lot of good habits fast. That was one. But I spent a number of years after film school still chasing an opportunity to get a job. I worked in call centers and horrible jobs that I had to do in order to survive until the first call came out where I actually got an opportunity to work on a movie for Miramax. And that took like 3.5 years before I actually got that opportunity.
Right. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, you stayed diligent in what you were doing, so it was only bound to come at that point. Oh, that is so cool. Okay, not a problem. But so what did success look like in your eyes?
Success, I mean, my goal has always been, I wanted direct movies, And I got an opportunity right after film school to, I went to a film festival where I won a pitching event. And the judge, one of the judges at the pitching event was Mark Shivis. He was at the time the head of BBC Films in England, and he had the power to greenlight movies. And I was so excited. Here I am, like 25, 26 years old, and I got a meeting. I tried to book a meeting with him, and I was living in Leeds. And Leeds is about you got to take the train. It's like a 5-hour bus ride or a 2.5-hour train ride down to London. And I booked a meeting to meet up with Mark Shivis, and I'm super excited because this is an opportunity. It's like meeting the head of Paramount or Warner Brothers, and I'm a young and eager recent graduate from a film school, and I want to make movies. And I got this meeting with Mark, and I sat down with him at this fancy club where a cup of coffee is $10, and which this is like 20 years ago, right? So it's even now a cup of coffee is $10, but that's beside the point. And we sat and chatted, and then he said, "So what do you got?" And I thought, "What do you mean?" I said, "I want to direct movies." And he goes, "Yeah, but what do you got?" I'm like, "Oh, I have nothing, I guess." And I realized I wasn't prepared for the meeting. Like, I just thought I'm going to go to him and he's going to give me a script and I'm going to make a movie. And he's like, "No, where's your script? Like, what movie do you want to make?" And I'm like, I didn't have it. And I realized that I wasn't prepared. And I realized that making a movie in my 20s as a feature I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't have enough experience. And even though I was excited and I had enthusiasm and I wanted it really, really bad, I wasn't ready. It would be like somebody who wants to be a doctor really, really bad. And would you want somebody who's a doctor who's really excited about being a doctor but said, I'll do medical school later? Would you want them operating on you? No, you wouldn't, right? So I needed to learn some things. And so in my 30s, I spent some time learning things, surrounding myself with really good people, getting the support that I need as a filmmaker. And the thing is, I'm now turning it back the other way around. So, mentoring people, doing film workshops is the number of young filmmakers who I've met who were like me in the 20s, where they're excited about their career. And I'm trying to help them not make the same mistakes that I made, because I consider that a mistake. I wasn't ready for that meeting. And so if I can help somebody, that's a good thing.
It's always a good thing. So that would be your success, just helping, right?
That's it.
No, I love that. Okay, so traveling the world to see premieres and events. What was that like?
It's the film festivals and the red carpets and the fancy dresses and the bow ties and all that stuff is glamorous and exciting, and it's awesome. It's what the public sees. They see the red carpet at the Cannes Film Festival or the Academy Awards, and they see all of that stuff, and Entertainment Tonight pushes that out, and we see all the stars and all that. But it's exciting, but what you realize is that it takes the tremendous amount of work to get to that point. Like, you can't just jump onto the red carpet and wave your hand and smile and think that you're successful. You have to do a lot of work, and a lot of movies spend years slugging it out, going through lots of battles to try to get to that point. So, it's the misconception that I think someone who just watches a movie, like, there's a difference between watching a movie and making one. People who watch movies and don't understand the craft of filmmaking think that, you stick a camera up, actors do stuff, and then they put it together, and then I get to watch it on a big screen at a cinema. And they don't realize that everything is placed. Everything is, the blueprint of the screenplay has to be crafted. You have to find the locations, cast the actors, and you could have, 30, 40, 100 people on your film set, and it could be costing millions of dollars, and it's a tremendous amount of work. And the average person doesn't fully realize how much work. They get horrified when they hear that a movie costs $200 million, right? Like, how could they spend $200 million? But when you watch the credits, does anybody who's listening to this podcast, do you ever sit at the end of a movie and watch the entire movie? I mean, not just like the credits, like look at all those names going by on the screen, and every one of those has got a family that they're trying to feed, and they work probably months and months on this film for 8 to 12 hours a day to do their part of the filmmaking process so that you could enjoy that movie for 15 bucks. To watch those credits and see the people that it takes to make a movie, most people leave. They leave. The movie ends, they walk out the door. Marvel's been good at it, right? Because Marvel has the little things at the end. They make you come back, right? You got to stay till the end. They force you to watch all those names go by on the screen. But yeah, most people don't realize how much work it is.
It is. It's a lot of work. I learned how to write a movie, just doing the interior and the descriptions and doing casting and just doing, all the extras that you would actually have to do when writing a movie. That is exhausting, but it's so much fun, especially reading it over again and like, okay, is that where that's supposed to be? So I
Mm-hmm.
understand completely. But like, yes, the whole big picture does like it probably would scare some people, putting it all together and just kind of like going stir crazy, like, well, what does this person do? And what does that person do? And why does that person do this and this person? What are you talking about? So yeah, that makes so much sense. $200 million, yeah, why not?
I've
Everybody's
never
got to
had
eat.
two million. I've never had $200 million, but I don't think I'd want to have $200 million. I don't think I have a desire to make a $200 million movie. I think with a lot of effects and crazy stuff going on. I think
Yeah.
I'm more interested in human-based, character-based stories that are more grounded rather than big sci-fi special effects, space movies, and stuff like that.
True. I got some scripts for you then. Okay, so the next one is what type of mindset did you have to like just really be there? Like to get there, to want to have it, to like, I'm determined. Is that it? Like you just had that determination or you
Determination and tenacity.
mm,
The feature that I made, which came out a couple of years ago, is called the Pineville Heist, which is on Amazon and all that stuff. So if you got Amazon Prime, you can go look it up. Pineville Heist. It took me 8 years, right? So from the time I started writing the script to the time it was actually premiered in cinemas in Canada, 8 years. Do you
yeah.
have the tenacity to stick at it when you have setbacks? And because making a movie, I find when you don't have unlimited resources, like a studio puts millions of dollars into it and they just throw money at problems. When you don't have a
Mhm.
lot of money and you don't have money to throw at a problem, can you keep your enthusiasm and the energy up for your movie? And it's like it was a constant 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I would things would be moving along, I would gain some success, things would happen, and then you'd get the phone call where somebody dropped out or this happened or you've lost this funder or that's happened. And then it's easy to get discouraged and to go, I can't do it, and it's too hard, and to give up. And a lot of people give up. In actual fact, I remember the last day of shooting. We shot for 25 days, and I remember the last day of shooting as we started when we, on day one when we started, and you get into it, and then before you know it's day 4, 5, 6, and I actually got more and more nervous as we got closer to the end of filming. So on day 23, 24, 25, you're so close to having shot everything that what if something goes wrong and you don't finish it? And I remember like literally in tears at the end of the film, and I got the cast and crew, and it was a wrap. We've finished. We've shot all the bulk of the film, and we did our 25 days. And I remember telling my cast and crew that the statistics are that 90% of all low budget feature films bust before they finish, meaning they don't get to finish. They just people drop out, lose enthusiasm, they run out of money, they just can't get there. And so by getting to day 25, we were in this top 10% of movies that actually got to that point. And that was exciting. And then it still took a year and a half to finish the film because of money. It still slowed down. It still took another year and a half. I mean, you think about that, the tenacity and determination you have to keep pushing forward to get it done. So it was pretty, to get it completed was a huge accomplishment because a lot of filmmakers don't get to that point.
It's true. It's very true. Wow. No, that makes a lot of sense too. Some things are like not, I wouldn't say not meant to be. It's just sometimes delayed, you know? Just a
Mm.
little bit. So what are you working on next?
Well, I'm a writer director, and I write to direct. And what's interesting is when I was a film student, the film program that I took in England had a screenwriting program, but I was a film production student. So the first couple of films that I made, other people wrote screenplays, and then I would write, and I would direct their screenplays. And I slowly started doing more screenwriting myself, and so I co-wrote my feature that I have, and I co-wrote a couple more. And I've slowly, because directing a movie involves a tremendous amount of money, time and money, and the first one was 8 years, whatever, and so it takes a long time. I've been writing a lot more now, and actually writing for other clients. Or I'm actually, I just did one for a producer in Arizona, and end up getting paid for being a writer. So and I'm doing another one for another Canadian and a Louisiana based production as well. So I've been writing lots of stuff. And then when the time comes to direct, I'm ready to direct. I'm ready. I'm not like I was when I had that meeting and I had nothing. Now I have something. So it's a lot of writing, and I really, really enjoy the process of writing. And I think it helps the fact that as a director, when I write, I actually see it. Like I can imagine it. Like I'm directing it while I'm writing it, because I can imagine what it would be like to be on set, and it makes the writing the descriptions and the dialogue that much clearer, because I have a director's eye and an editor's eye as to how it actually would look on screen, which makes it easier then for other people to read it, right? Like if sometimes there's writers who just write and they've never been on a set, and they've just watched movies. I think I have an advantage. As a director, you have an advantage because you know what it takes. Like, for example, in the script I'm writing right now, I'm always thinking about budget at times. It's like, what, I don't need 8 people in the scene when maybe I can have 4. And I'm thinking, well, it's 4 less actors to hire. That'll save 4 times as much money. And so I'm thinking, how do I make this concise and simple and stripped down so that it makes sense, and each character has a role, and I'm not overwriting things, and I'm not going going beyond what I need to do. But yeah, doing a lot of writing right now, and I'm really enjoying it.
I love that. Okay, so like, what would you say to someone that wants to actually get into this industry as well? Someone young.
What I would say is that if you want to write, you should write. If you want to direct, you should direct. If you want to be a camera person, go and shoot some stuff. I mean, you just got to get your hands dirty sometimes, right? You just don't wait for things to happen, right? Don't wait for it to come to you. You have to go to it. You have to put yourself out, right? When I was struggling to make my feature film, and I wanted to make a feature film, and I was getting, it was I was like, oh, is this ever going to happen? And the doors close on you, and the funders don't give you money because they don't trust you. I actually did a series of 3 shorts back to back, which I shot in a day. And I actually, there's ones where I shot one on an iPad, because I didn't have camera. So it's like, well, you can say, well, I'll wait until I have the money and the equipment, and then I'll shoot something. Or nowadays the technology is such that, my phone has I can select it and go 4K. I can actually have a 4K recording device with my phone. And when I was in film school, you didn't have that. You didn't have cell phones that could shoot that quality. If you wanted to make a film, you shot on film. Now it's the technology is great, but just get out there. You just have to get out there and just, if you only have your phone, go and shoot something with your phone and be creative with it, and then stick it out on YouTube, and then keep making more and learn more, and watch a lot of behind the scenes videos for how they do things, and mentor and network with people and find mentors. And one of my biggest pet peeves really is from a scripting point of view, is the screenplay is the blueprint by which a movie is made, right? You know, the story and the characters are developed and the plot is developed and what's going on. And I talk and mentor some screenwriters, and they'll write a screenplay, and then I will go in and cross stuff out, and I will go, you're being redundant, or it's on the nose, or it doesn't, there's a plot hole here, or I don't believe that character. And they become too precious with it. They write one draft and they think, I'm done, let's go make it. And you know, I think the draft, my Pineville Heist feature draft, I think the first draft was about 115, 120 pages. The shooting draft was like 92, and I think we did about 6 or 7 major redrafts, but in total there was like 20 some drafts. And spent about $1,500 or so on script consultants and people to review it, and to people to give us an idea of what's wrong with it or what works or not. And you can't ask your mother or your father or your son or whatever. They're just going to go, it's great, love it. You have to ask somebody who is going to impartially look at it, read it without any knowing you at all, and just saying, I don't understand what's going on, or there's a plot problem, or this character doesn't seem like it's their voice, or it's not helping. And you need to be able to, you know, swallow your pride and go, okay, if they don't, I need to fix some things. And if you're willing to do that, then you improve your work drastically. So now, like when I screenwrite, it's like I write 10 pages, go back and redraft 5, and then I write 10 pages, I go back and I redraft 5, and I'm constantly thinking of, does it make sense? Is it working? Am I just writing dialogue for the sake of writing dialogue? Actually, a BBC script editor once said to me, he said, what's your favorite line of dialogue in the film? What's your favorite line of dialogue? And I'm like, oh, I love this one. And he went and crossed it out. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, if you can identify your favorite line of dialogue, then you're too married to it. And every line of dialogue should be your favorite, because every line of dialogue needs to be important for the story, or for the character, or to drive the plot forward. No one line of dialogue should be the best line of dialogue. It all needs to serve a purpose. So don't get too stuck on that one line of dialogue. Everything needs to be important.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay. No, that makes complete sense to me. Okay. No, that is interesting. Well, if there is anything you would like to say, sir, the floor is yours.
Well, as I did mention and did plug, there is the Pineville Heist, which is on Amazon and Tubi, so you can watch it on those formats. And if you go to leechambers.com, there's other content and short films and information about me. And I would encourage anybody out there who's listening, who is a budding filmmaker or screenwriter, you know, by all means, there's a contact page on there if you want to reach out and say whatever or ask a question. I'm more than happy to answer the call and be supportive for the next generation of movie makers in, well, America, Canada, or around the world.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time, your energy, and just having the wanting to even be here. We appreciate it so much. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me, Lady Myya. I appreciate everyone so greatly for being here. Thank you. If you have any ideas, any questions, or anything, and you just want to say hi, you can reach me at one Lady Myya. That is MYYA @gmail.com. And I will see you guys later.